All right. Welcome back, everyone, to part 3 of the Bandit King. On the last episode, our adventurers had a little arson in their home. Their house, their lovely abode, has a few new scorch marks here and there. They finally went into the sewers of Lyalisk, hunting down the bandit hideout. They were taken into the hideout by one they met, Chris. Moving through the sewers quietly, sneaking behind. Pablo and Sebastian followed as Garrick went in with Chris. And now he brings Garrick into meet the Bandit King. So before we go in, everyone grab an ale, prepare for a tale, for all are welcomed at the Banshee's Whale.
Did you guys see what I popped in the chat for roll 20?
Yeah, everyone can see that.
Good.
Garrick?
You're already talking poopy. Finally went into the sewers. Finally jumped in there.
Finally,
you know
they took their time.
I'm leaving.
They took their time getting here.
Well, you know what? Garrick's upset now. Garrick's leaving.
Garrick can deal with it.
You're really going to leave Pablo and Sebastian?
Rob's like, and Garrick just dies of a heart attack right there. It's crazy.
It's really weird. Chris turns around and stabs Garrick in the chest. Pablo and Sebastian move forward and find Garrick lying on the ground dead. It's super weird how that happened. But no.
Go ahead.
Yes, Garrick. No, go on, Garrick.
I was going to say, and this encounter that was built for 3 is now going to be taken on by 2.
Good luck. But no, Garrick, you follow behind Chris as he leads you through a long tunnel. The door closed behind you, and you follow him down. It's dark. He's leading you. You do see some light ahead of you that illuminates a small room. As you get closer, you can see the light is caused by small crystals kind of here and there on the wall. They're glowing a light purple, illuminating the area. Chris takes you forward down a set of wooden stairs. You can now see. I'm going to go ahead and move you into view. You'll be on the bottom left of the map.
Okay, I see it.
Chris, and you walk down the stairs, still tied by the hand. He turns around, looking at you. He reaches down toward his wrist. I think you can see here.
Yes, sight is plenty, as Garrick unties his wrist and unties Chris's.
Perfect. Well, before we continue forward, where I take you to meet our leader. And he starts walking over to a small desk. You can see a book open on it with a pen and quill, a small glass of water next to it. No one seated on the other side. Please, sign this ledger real fast.
All right. So as I approach, I'm just kind of scanning the ledger to make sure it's not like some sort of deal that's going to end up making Garrick unalive or be useless later.
You look at the pages that are right there with the quill on the page, kind of just laying on the page. It's just a list of names and dates.
Do I recognize any of these names?
Yes, you recognize a few. 2 are higher politicians. One is actually on the city council.
Mm-hmm.
A couple are major market owners, basically, that run a major part of the large market within Lyalisk. And one you recognize as the leader of the Wizard Tower.
Okay. All right. Yep. So then Garrick signs the ledger.
All right, and you just sign your name.
Just the first name, though. I don't leave a last name.
And don't forget to date it. We like to know when everyone comes in.
Understood. And so I do put the date down.
Perfect. Normally, we would have somebody stationed here and actually outside by the door. So don't think our security is normally this week, but right now everybody should be celebrating.
I was going to say, operation this smooth typically would have better security, but that does put some of my concerns at ease.
And he starts walking forward through the door in front of you. Well, we go. Yes. Normally we have a lot more, but I'll say we don't really have to worry too much with our leader here. None of us are really worried.
Is your leader an expert in some sort of combat, or?
You follow Chris around the corner. He's like half turned while walking, leading you forward. You could say that. He's absurdly strong. I wouldn't recommend trying to tangle with him. I once saw him rip a man's arm off just with his bare hands.
Wow. Does he use any, like, magic for that, or is he just that powerful?
I think it's just his raw strength. But one thing, and he actually turns at this point toward you, I would not bring up his height when you meet him.
Very understandable.
Perfect. I think you'll live then.
A temper, I see.
And you continue forward at this point. So we're actually going to move to Pablo and Sebastian. The two of you walk down this long tunnel, seeing a light purple glow at the end. You kind of walk through and see a set of wooden stairs leading down with the glowing purple crystals kind of lining the walls here and there. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
You both should be at the bottom left-hand side of the map.
They're so pretty. Let's follow them.
Feels like walking into a trap, but okay.
All right, the
My
two of
brain
you
is-
continue. Keep going.
I was saying my brain is stressed about this.
Sebastian, you look over at Pablo and can see on his face and how he's holding himself. He seems a little anxious.
Sit back. I'll take care of it.
Probably just gonna grumble and like move him behind me.
You start to walk down the stairs, Sebastian. Pablo moves up next to you, and you can see he kind of moves his shoulder in front of you and begins taking the lead forward.
I don't know why you're scared. It looks great from here. Let's keep going.
I'm gonna. Or do you think I'm too stupid to read the book? I am a -1.
I can read the book pretty good, so.
You're able to tell that their names written on it. So the two of you walk into the small room. You walk up to the lone desk at the end of the room. You see the book with the pen, the quill, and ink set up there. You look down, and you do at least recognize Garrick's name and today's date written on the page that's faced up.
Well, at least we know we made it alive this far.
You kind of look away from the book, Pablo, and you see a couple of glowing crystals on the wall away from the door behind you. And you see the same shadow of a man appear there and wave at you.
I will let you talk to him, Pablo. We're not on good terms. I dispelled him last time, so
The goblin's just Pablo's just gonna be like, "Hi."
The shadow of the man, you can tell, points kind of off behind you and to the right.
So facing that way, right? So the hallway.
Yes.
Okay. I was just gonna thumbs up and walk down the hallway.
You turn around, and we'll go back to Garrick here. Garrick, Chris continues forward through another door, and he kind of gestures toward you to follow him. You can see in front of you a door that's open, and you can hear some bantering and sounds like quite a few voices in the other room. Chris turns toward you. Probably best. Could you actually close that?
The door behind me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he shuts the door. But could I attempt to like slip a little piece of like rope between like the where the door hinge would like insert into the wall? Like not the hinge, but like the actual like mechanism that keeps the door shut so that like, it can't lock.
Yeah. Roll me a sleight of hand check for that.
19.
Perfect. You reach down, as you're reaching forward with your right hand, with your left, you take a tiny piece of rope, as you have a few there, and you softly close the door, bring your left hand to it. You tuck the rope at the connection, and you close it so the rope is holding it from locking. And could you please turn the lock, actually?
Okay. And
Trust
so
me,
he
it's
Okay.
actually for your safety.
Very well. Is it like a latch above where the actual handle is, or is it on the handle?
It's on the handle.
Okay, so it won't affect like what I just did with the rope.
No.
Okay, turns the lock. It gives it like a little good faith shake, so that it shows that it's not turning.
Perfect. So before I take you in, and you hear from the other room, Chris, I can smell you. You brought someone with you. Well, I'll just introduce you to the gang.
All right.
And he continues forward. He walks through the door. Yes, Leo, I brought somebody here to see Drax. You know I don't like it when you do things on your own, Chris. Well, bring it up with Drax then. You look into the room as you're stepping into it. You can see the individual that Chris referred to as Lial sitting across from him, a very large human male with long, dark brown hair and a full beard, wearing a fur coat over what you can see is chainmail, sitting at the table with a few others. A woman, very beautiful, with a long, she's a redhead with a long braid coming down in front, a cloak pushed behind her, also wearing armor, with a very large, still long sword next to her. And across the table from Lial, you see a smaller man, not even really wearing armor, what looks to be almost like a monk's clothing, with some fur here and there. His hair shaved up to a mohawk that's pushed forward. Sitting across, smiling, and he has a large cat on the table in front of him. Black fur with glowing blue eyes, and a few others. Another human, an orc, and some others further into the room. You see the.
So, Rob,
Go on.
would you say that this beautiful woman is like love at first sight kind of beautiful, or like just your standard kind of like attractive?
Like love at first sight.
So Garrick immediately falls in love with her, like with like without even a second thought, he's immediately in love with this woman.
Does he do anything when he sees her?
He looks at her like, and he doesn't stare. He just kind of looks past her, and as he like scans back to the other side of the room, he just kind of gives her a little wink on the way as he continues to scan about the room.
Roll me. We'll just do a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Ooh, not very persuasive.
You do that. She at first she wasn't facing you as you passed over her the first time, and as you came back, you see her head turn, and just like out of the side of her eye, she's looking at you, and you wink, and you just see her roll her eyes and turn her head back.
Hey, Chris, what's the story with that one?
Under his breath, that's Brienne. I'd be careful with that one. Her fangs are worse than her bark.
Very, very interesting. I must keep her away from Sebastian.
Was that the handsome gentleman with you the other day?
Yes, the one in the fine clothing, that rat bastard.
That'd be a good idea, yeah. Chris, who is this? Yeah, Chris. You see the shorter monk at the other end of the table. Who did you bring in to come see us?
Well, Chris told me they needed someone actually competent for once to do a job, so here I am. As he very clearly is trying to crack a witty joke to lighten up the tone of the room.
Everyone kind of stops what they're doing and looks over at you. The large man in front, Leo, breaks out laughing. Competent. He stands up and walks over to you. He's at least a foot taller than you.
Mm-hmm.
He gets close, just a little uncomfortably, and you just hear him kind of sniff. At least I don't smell fear.
Interesting. Would a fearful man be this prepared? Could I roll like a sleight of hand check to like very sneakily have like a dagger at his knee since he's so much taller, like as like a more of a gesture of like not threatening, but like a pose of like non-fear in the room.
Yeah, roll the sleight of hand. He looks down and sees your quick movement with the dagger as it's against his knee, and you kind of have it up against his knee. At least you're quick. He leans a little more forward. But why don't you try it?
Do it.
In due time, my friend. I must discuss some business first, but we'll have our fight later.
You feel him slam his hand down on your shoulder. You can feel it kind of push you a little down. Come sit with us. Chris, I like this one. Pour him a drink.
So as they're all like, as everyone's starting to walk back, I'm assuming towards that little bar area, Garrick just kind of like turns over his shoulder, like his face, so he faces like towards the wall, so they can't see. He just kind of lets out a, knowing that he is in deep enemy territory.
Yeah, you can have a seat with them. I'll go get you a drink.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you.
You see he walks over to the bar with a woman with a hood actually pulled over her. You can see she has kind of black hair, a dainty, beautiful face, but mostly covered up by the cloak. So you go and sit at the table, and now we're actually going to move back to Sebastian and Pablo. So you turn around to face the hallway, and as you do, as you turn and you look down the hallway to the right where the shadow had told you to go. Already you can see the shadow now there, and it's waving at you.
I'm gonna
Right
walk
here.
towards it.
Same.
And as I walk by the shadow, I like bow, tip my hat. Sorry for dispelling you earlier. Just poor tactics on my part.
As you say that, the shadow, you can see its arms kind of go toward its chest, and it blows you a kiss.
I take the kiss. Oh, so gentle, so smooth.
Easy breezy, cover girl.
You walk into the hallway, and you can see the shadow moving with you on the wall. It crossed from the wall over here to this wall, just without it even passing through. It just moved from wall to wall, and it continues forward off into this direction.
So what
Can
should
I-
we do?
Can I hear anything?
Roll me a perception check.
Can I give her
No.
the help action?
Okay,
No.
I feel like that's 4 nat 1s in a row for me.
I mean, looking at the scoreboard.
Actually,
you
yes.
had- yeah.
What the
You know,
hell?
it's just leading up to like 5 nat 20s in a row. You'll get there. It's okay.
I'm so stressed out because of the dice god. I don't know what I did, but they're angry.
Dice Christ.
So you watch as the shadow moves over onto a wall with an open door, and it kind of gestures the two of you forward.
Can I make a roll like investigation or something like that? Or
Yeah. What specifically about? I'll give you details.
I just want to see if he's not leading us to our doom.
You can roll me an investigation for kind of general information. You look forward, and you through the doorway across from it, and you can see a closed door down the hall from there. You see a few more routes, and from where you are, as you walk kind of toward where the shadow is, you look off to your left, and you see long hallways branching out kind of down the other way.
And it's still it's dark down here. There's no torches or anything.
No torches, but it is illuminated by the glowing crystals.
Well, my dear Pablo, where do you want to go now?
As you say this out loud, the shadow kind of leans over and waves at you.
He hasn't done us dirty yet. Let's follow the shadow. I dispelled him, and we are at amends now. Let us
Okay.
follow the shadow.
Okay.
I see the shadow kind of move toward the door and then disappear through it. Moving into this direction. Do you follow?
And follow the shadow.
All right, you follow the shadow through the doorway. You come to a small room with more hallways branching off to your left. You can see down them quite some distance, and they kind of branch off into more hallways. This large cave structure seems to have many winding paths through it. And the shadow brings you toward a door that has been closed, and the shadow moves toward it and goes onto the door, and it looks down at the handle, and you see it kind of lift its arm up and scratch its head.
Can I do some kind of check to make sure the shadow's not like screwing us over? Can I do some kind of check on that?
In what way? Are you kind of seeing how the shadow's moving, or
just like maybe on a Arcana check? Because like this guy's helping us a lot, and he's giving us all the answers. Like I'm a little suspicious.
Yeah, roll me an Arcana check. Just kind of seeing if you know any type of creatures or magic that use this. Okay. You know there's a few spells that can create shadows and allow you to make images via shadows to send messages. You're also aware of a couple creatures, primarily in the Fey realm, that can create shadows.
So I kind of grab Pablo's arm and be like, hey, this could be really good or really bad. Like this could be a Fey creature or someone that's going to really help us, but it might cost us.
Probably just gonna go and open the door.
Okay.
All right. You go and turn the handle of the door. And as you do that, the door handle turns and you pull it open, and you see a small piece of rope kind of fall from the door.
What? Yeah.
And let me open that for you. And we'll stop you right there. We'll go back to Garrick. Garrick, you walk next to the stool next to Leal, and you sit down right next to the beautiful woman Brienne, and who has been referred to as Drax across the table from you. Do you say anything, or do you wait for them to speak?
I look over at Leal. Is that it, Leal?
Yeah.
So I look over at Leal and I I tap him on the shoulder, and I say, "Quite an imposing man you make." It was quite the stare down, my friend.
I can't have any weak little whelps. Dishonor. He turns to the other side of the table. The great Drax.
And that's the gentleman sitting right here at the Mohawk, right?
Yep.
Okay. Ah, yes, Drax. I don't think we have formally met. I am Garrick.
Drax stands up. You can tell, even at your little more than average height, he might be even a foot shorter than you. He stands up across the table and reaches out, barely meeting it halfway at the table with his hand extended out. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I stretch a hand out, and I very intentionally go for like a wrist kind of grab as more of like a sign of like companionship or solidarity instead of just like a regular handshake.
He grabs your wrist, and you can feel, not that he's squeezing your hand, but as if his hand weighs like 5 times the amount of a regular person's arm.
So after we shake, I look at him and I say, "Wow, that is quite the stone hands you have going there. Must be a fighter."
He moves back and sits down. But we're not here for pleasantries, are we, friends?
Not entirely, no. There is some business to discuss.
Yes. Chris says, apparently, that he thinks you'll be able to help us somehow.
I've been known to be useful in a time or two, in a pinch or three.
And as you say that, you see Chris come behind you, and he sets a drink down in front of you in a tankard, completely filled.
Mm-hmm. So looking at this, do I smell anything or like see anything that would cause me to believe there's anything wrong with the drink?
What's just your normal perception?
Like passive?
Yeah.
11.
Roll me a perception check.
Oof.
No, you take a look at it, and it looks just like normal alcohol.
Okay. What kind of ale you serving down here, Drax? I can't imagine it's anything for the poor of taste.
It's just beer.
Keep it simple, right?
Well, we're celebrating tonight, right? And everyone holds their tankard up. So we'll break out the special drinks later. But for now, this'll settle it.
Will do. And I take a good faith sip.
And as you drink it, you taste nothing distinct kind of comes out to you. It just tastes
Fine ale.
normal.
A fine ale.
It kind of tastes like piss.
Well, we are here for business, but some pleasantries need to be happening, correct? As he laughs at himself.
Yes. So, apparently, and Chris decided, you can see he doesn't turn his head to look at Chris, just his eyes kind of go off to look at him at like a side eye. Thinks that we need to better our name amongst the city. People have a bad reputation about us. He said you'd be a good man for this. A hype man of sort.
Well, I do have my connections with the city, and you have started a tavern brawl or two, so I could see how image might be a slight problem for you.
He leans forward and sets his elbow hard on the table, and he points at you. We never started anything.
Well, then enlighten me. What happened?
My collection, my family here, we don't start anything. But if somebody starts anything with us, and he raises his tankard, we finish them, right? Everyone yaws to it.
A simple defend yourself, I can respect. I can respect very much.
I know. I think one guy gave Brienne a bad look. Lial thought here he should lose his hand for that. A simple repercussion, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, maybe not losing a hand, but that could be part of the image that I help you fix. So,
Well, enlighten me. If the beautiful Brienne, love you, doll, gets a bad look from somebody that should be courting her, what do you think the punishment should be?
so at this point, Garrick looks over at Lial and taps him on the side, and he says, "Do me a favor, stand up."
Lial looks at you but stands up out of his stool.
Now, Drax, I hear you're quite the powerful man.
Of course.
Great.
I'd say the most, but go on.
Well, how can people know without seeing the flavor for themselves, right?
Enlighten.
Throw him, as he nods over to Lial. Not hard, but just toss him lightly.
You want me to throw Lial?
Correct.
He stands up out of his chair. Fine. And he steps onto the table. You can hear it creak under his foot. He takes another step on the table. You can hear the wood actually beginning to splinter a little. And he hops down next to Lial. He, standing next to Lial, just reaches onto his vest and lifts him with a single hand and then just pushes as Lial flies through the door behind you.
So as that happens, I'm assuming that everyone else that's in this little cavern area would have like a look of like holy shit on their face, right?
Actually, no.
No?
To them, it you look at their faces and it kind of seems like a normal occurrence.
No. Well, that kind of thanks a lot, DM. Ruined my whole fun here. So he looks over, he looks at Drax, and he says, "That right there, my friend, that display of power would send any man shaking in their boots. I think that would get your message across quite clear, without having to dismember a hand."
He looks around at everyone. He puts his hands up. Do you guys think that would suffice? And you kind of see a few of them nod, but none of them really like shout out to it, but they nod. Okay, maybe you have a point. And then to Pablo and Sebastian, you open the door. The little rope falls out, and as you open the door, you see this very large human male fly through the door in front of you and slam into some barrels.
Oh shit.
Note to self: don't be grappled by Drax.
Hello there.
You see the man kind of like sit up off the floor, and you see his neck kind of creaked, and you see him snap it back into place and shake it off. And he
Paulo
looks over
just
at you.
offers a handout to help him up.
Is that lasagna?
What?
Well, could you
What?
imagine you just got thrown through a door and through some barrels, and someone's like, "Is that lasagna?"
What?
What?
I want some elaboration
Pablo
from
offered them
Sebastian.
lasagna.
No, I've reached out my hand to help him
Oh,
up.
okay. I thought she was giving him lasagna.
No,
was
I'm
just-
not feeding anybody else yet.
No, I like the question as it stands. That's great. 'Cause you know how disorienting that would be? Huh? What?
Wait, how hard was I thrown?
I swore that man just asked me for lasagna.
The man sits up and grabs your hand, and you help pull him up. And who are you?
Pablo, shadow. He, like, points
Sebastian.
towards the shadows.
You point toward the shadow, which is kind of on the door frame, and you just see it waving. And you hear Lial say, "Hearts, are you trying to upset your master again?" And then you see the shadow kind of drop and vanish. And you hear soft footsteps come out from the corner of the door frame. And just a...
He's a kitty.
As the cat, you see a black cat with glowing blue eyes walk around Pablo, kind of rubbing its head up against your leg as it passes.
Pablo's gonna reach down and give it scritches.
It stops and lets you pet down its neck. It continues to walk, and you can see it shake as it passes. For Garrick, you're looking over at Philodrax, and you see another black cat that matches the one that's sitting on the table walk in between the two of you and just jump up onto the table and move across from the other one, and it sits down in the same position.
So there are two cats in front of me that look the exact same?
Yes.
Very interesting.
You have a curious expression on your face, and you look over at Drax. Oh, I'm sure you've never seen these types of creatures before. They're Fae. They're handy little companions I keep.
Very interesting. How long have you had them?
I added them to the collection. I think me, Hearts, and Spade have been going at it for a couple decades now.
A couple of decades. In this town, or?
No. We've traveled across the lands.
Searching far and
As
wide?
looking to add each Pokemon to my collection. He walks around the table and sits down with both cats kind of perched up on each side of him. Leal, bring the other guests in. Give him a seat. Leal still kind of shrugging off, being thrown across the room. Come in. I think this is too many people, though, Drax. I doubt they'll all stay quiet. If we killed one, I think they would. Leal sits down next to Garrick and looks over at him.
Was
Do you
that a
think
direct?
that's necessary?
No. I can promise you these two won't talk.
Pablo and Sebastian, you walk into the door in the room with all of the bandits around you.
I am gleaming with baby oil. I am shining like a fish.
And so, as soon as he walks in the room, Garrick very nervously looks at Brienne and then looks at him, looks at Brienne, looks at him to see if she's reacting to what he looks like.
Her face is just stone. She's just looking over at Drax.
Garrick thinks to himself, oh thank you.
A
It is
boy
not the first
compared
time
to
that
a
Garrick has
man.
been upstaged by Sebastian.
Not even.
Pablo and Sebastian, do you just stand at the end of the room? You see some open seats around you.
I'll sit down and get a tankard. Why not?
I'm just
Oh,
gonna
where would you
go-
like to sit?
I'm gonna go and stand behind Garrick and just bring my sword down to be like a prop to stand against.
I'm gonna sit right here.
All right. You sit next to Leal on the other side of Garrick. Pablo, you stand behind Garrick and take your sword down and kind of set it down next to you with a thud and lean your weight against it. Well, I guess the gang's all here, isn't it? Drax says over
suppose.
to you. So, please enlighten me on how you can help our reputation amongst this city. Please, I'm open to criticism.
I pop a button off my vest.
Well,
Whoa.
for starters, oh boy.
You
No,
first.
please. No. I'd like to hear and you can see a slight glow pass over Drax's eyes. I'd like to see what the changeling has to say.
Are you gonna make me roll with disadvantage now, Rob? I think if you guys were much more civilized. I mean, the docks are a rough place. Why can't you guys control the docks? There's plenty of taverns. I know a very strong bard maiden. I've lost to her 81 times in arm wrestling. You guys make a nice, sweet thing with the docks. You guys could have a good thing. Why hinder your guys' performance?
Hinder
not-
what performance? No, elaborate. We do what we want whenever we want.
Yes, but you guys could have a comfy life at the docks. Sit there, reap your rewards, and grow.
Are you trying to say that my humble cave isn't comfy?
Sebastian just rolls his eyes. A cave? You could live in a mansion. Play your cards right. You could have the best that life can offer. Look at me, a humble changeling. I've lived a good life. Wouldn't you want the same?
At this point, Garrick is like short-circuiting because he had no idea he was a changeling this whole time. So he's like, "What?"
Yeah, you guys don't know I'm a changeling.
So Garrick is having a moment of like, "How did we not know this?"
Pablo just doesn't care. Pablo's just like,
Well, you
"Eh."
see, Garrick's an information man. He likes to have information.
Yeah, up until this point, you've never seen Sebastian change from what he looks like right now.
I think the best part is that he chooses to be looking like that in the, like, extraness of it.
Yeah, that's what Sebastian does. Sebastian is self-conscious. He hates the way he looks.
So Garrick is just running back through all the times that Sebastian like stole a maiden that he had fallen in love with, and is just uber frustrated at this point because now he knows it's all a farce.
Sebastian is vain.
Well, Garrick, since apparently you're the leader of your group, what do you think? Should we be more
Leader.
civilized? Tell me, please. I'm open
Well, I'll put
to
it this
your
way.
feedback.
I'll put it this way, Drax. You see the house we live in, and I'm going to go ahead and assume you know where we live. You seem to have a lot of information.
What, he holds his hand up and you can see him kind of playing with his nails. What, would make you say that?
Well, the fact that my home got a new fireplace that was not installed professionally tips me off to quite a lot.
He stands up out of his stool. He walks around the table. You know what? Follow me.
Garrick does.
And you see him walk to this side of the room. And he turns as he exits the door. Just you, Garrick. The other two stay here.
And Garrick just kind of shoots a little motion over to them like it'll be fine.
As he leaves, can I give him a bardic? Like, I kind of like touch his arm and be like, you got this, champ.
Yeah, as he walks by you, you reach out and like grab his wrist and nod at him.
You're not as pretty as me, but you'll do.
Thanks for the kind words.
I'm a changeling, by the way.
Yeah, you didn't like as he has like a minor like aside with with Sebastian. You didn't need to tell me that all these years. You know how many missions could have been so much more simple if you just told me that.
But where's the fun in that?
Oh, I'm glad we're gonna have a discussion
As you
later.
kind of like scowl at him, Drax, are you coming?
Yes, sorry.
You squabble like you're married.
He
Well,
wishes.
You do enough work with someone and you feel married.
I get that. But yeah, as he's kind of leading you and talking to you at the same time, never looking back.
Mm-hmm.
I heard about what happened to your house. And, well, you see, here we take matters into our own hands. I'll show you how we handle poor behavior.
I'm so worried about Garrick.
I'm not. He has bardic. He'll be fine.
Pablo, you're kind of just
you
staring
realize who
out.
our DM is, right?
I've slam dunked
I'm
his
a-
last two dungeon
I'm
or
a-
his two baddies. I got this.
I'm a nice guy, thank you.
Every
But
time I've let somebody go off by themselves, they've gotten taken,
what?
murdered.
You don't let me go by myself. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know.
And we'll go back to Pablo and Sebastian. You're sitting at the table. Pablo, you're kind of staring off at the door where Garrick walked out of. Actually, why did that door close?
Sebastian's drinking egregiously.
Yeah, you look over and Sebastian's just pouring this low quality beer down his gullet. The others look back at Pablo. You can feel a few eyes kind of staring at you. Well, have a seat. Liel says to you, sitting in the stool right by you.
Pablo's gonna walk over and grab one of the extra chairs to bring it over for his sword.
You grab one of the stools and prop it up next to you and prop your sword against it. And then you take a seat next to Liel. What's that beautiful blade?
He's my best friend.
Best friend? It talks to you?
Yes.
And you talk to it?
We cook together.
The best lasagna in the land.
Fair enough. I need more ale.
Can I pour him his ale?
Yeah, you grab one of the extra tankards that's kind of just sitting there. And instead of sliding it over to add to the one he already has, you just tip it and pour it into the mug he's already holding. He looks down and looks at you. Thanks, skinny one.
Oh, skinny's such a vain word.
Says the vain one.
He lifts
Silence,
his arm.
Pablo!
He lifts his arm next to you, Sebastian, and he flexes, and you can hear the cloth shirt he's wearing begin to rip.
I gently whisper in his ear, nothing compared to my fair barb maiden. She's beaten me 81 times. A true champion.
Pablo's also just gonna like lift up an arm and flex too.
He looks at Pablo and gives him a thumbs up. And then he kind of turns his head back. Wait, are you talking about Uslega?
The greatest barb maiden in the land. Oh, she is the best. Oof.
He slams his hand on the table. Guys, this is the fool that's challenged Uslega 81 times.
I just jump up on the table and bow. 81 indeed. I will make it 1 to 81 in one day. But till then, her biceps are too strong. I cannot compete with her.
Liel sets his elbow on the table. Would you like some practice?
Do I still have that elixir that Dragonborn gave me?
Yeah.
I will
Or blue steel.
Blue steel. I'm going to drink blue steel.
You take a moment, and as you're sitting down, you kind of pour it into your cup and then chug it. And let me adjust your stats.
Jesus.
You can feel just a rush of adrenaline and strength go into you. You sit down. So, are you accepting his challenge?
Yep. I rolled my sleeve up gently, my frail, pale-skinned armed. I'm ready to do this, buddy.
There's his modifier. Roll me an athletics check. You sit on the at the corner of the table with Liel. He sets his elbow down. You roll your sleeves up, set yours down, and you can actually see the muscle striations in your arm. You're just completely flexed. You can feel the blood pushing out your muscles as the largest your arm has ever looked. And you grab his hand, and he smiles and looks forward, and he says, "Go." And you slam his hand down on the table. So hard. You let go. He lifts his hand, and you can see one of his fingers broken to the side.
So this is what she feels like when she beats me.
He looks at his hand, looks back at you, grabs his finger, snaps it back into place. Respect. Do that, and I think you'll bed the barmaid.
I don't know if I want to bed her. I feel like our little friendly rivalry is great enough. And I kind of like look towards the redhead.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Perfect.
She looks at you as you stand up, and you look over at her and kind of like nod and wink. You can see one of her eyebrows kind of raise, and she gives a small nod.
That's how it's done,
Well,
boys.
And in the other room, Garrick's heart slightly breaks as he feels the connection lost.
Your heartstrings pull a little. And we'll go back to Garrick. You're walking down the hall with Drax. He's leading you forward. You begin seeing all these twisting and turning hallways in this cave system. You can see a bunch of equipment, tables, different goods, more doors kind of spread throughout. Some small statues, which are the heads of dragons, kind of littered on the wall here and there. Did you say something?
Oh, just admiring the dragon's heads. They're quite a task to take down.
Those ones are just stone. I had them made to decorate the place a little. Makes it a little more intimidating, doesn't it?
It gives it a little more life, that's for sure.
That's what I was hoping for. As he steps forward, and as you step into the small room with him, you look to your right, and you see a cell door locked, and you can see a thin man with blonde hair, kind of tied back. You can see one of his eyes closed and kind of blood covering half of his face. He's tattered, and you can tell heavily injured. You can even hear his breathing kind of wheezing.
And who might this be?
This is your arson. You're welcome. Meet anew.
So Garrick's just going to kind of take a second to look up and down the arson. Does he look familiar as to the figure form, like the body shape that he saw when he saw him run down the hall or down the alleyway?
Yeah, he looks like he would fit the build of the cloaked person you saw.
So Garrick just kind of narrows his eyes on him and asks him, why burn our home? What motivation would you have?
He's staring at you, and you can hear him just trying to breathe as he's kind of wheezing. Well, he didn't think it was a good idea for Chris to get you involved in, again, bettering our reputation. Anu thinks that we're fine the way we are. And without even consulting me, took it upon himself. When I heard of it, well, like I said before, we take matters into our own hands. And if my collection is going to go running about without consulting me first, he looks at over at Anu, they have to know the consequences.
Let me ask you a question, friend. Looking, looking as you take things into your own hands, why consult us? Why ask Chris for this meeting?
Well, you see, how do I put this? I'm not the best negotiator, apparently, from what they tell me. I listen to my people and try to lead them. But we don't take anything from no one. Well, word-wise, I take everything from everyone. I would rather burn the city down than listen to those that sit around a table and tell me or anyone what to do.
So you're a bit of a free spirit and you're not much for the confines of a city.
Exactly. I mean, they built this city on my land.
Your land.
Yeah. You see, everything you see around the city of Lyalisk was mine. I left for a little while. Came back and this hunk of rock was sitting over my land. Thinking back, Garrick, with your base stats, you're familiar with the city of Lyalisk, and you know it's been standing for over 200 years.
What does he appear to me like as a person? Does he look human, elf? What race does he look like he is?
He looks human.
Okay. Lyalisk has been here for over 200 years. You don't look a day over 30.
Well, there's many different. You can see him looking up, kind of thinking. Beings that live longer than others. I never said I was a human, now did I?
No, you didn't. But if I'm to help repair your image, as you so put it, and... Well, first let me ask this. What do you seek to gain from repairing your image? Do you wish to stay within the shadows, or do you wish to have Lyalisk back?
I just wish to do what I want. And for everyone to move out of my way. They want the city to stand. You see what we run into with that? A lot of the time, if I go out and about, somebody bumps into me or doesn't like the way I do things.
Well,
if I could torch this place, if I wanted to, I would. With that, Garrick, roll me an insight check.
Okay.
And you have Bardic.
I want to use the Bardic.
Okay. Is your Bardic, it's 1d10, correct, Sebastian?
Let me see.
Look at Bardic Inspiration, scroll to the bottom, it should tell you what the multiplier is at your level.
Bardic
The
Inspiration
D8
changes.
from last time.
D8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at D10 at 10th level and D12 at 15th level.
Okay. Garrick, roll
You know what?
me...
I'm gonna pocket that.
Okay.
Because I don't think a 12 is gonna get me what I'm looking for here.
You're trying to think and kind of come up with what Drax might be, since he said he wasn't human, and you kind of just think about what he said so far, not really trying to hide much. You can tell he's very selfish, egotistical, and the one thing that stands out is he's repeatedly called the people around him his collection.
So I'm just gonna ask this like out of game. Is Garrett catching on? Is he picking up what's getting put down?
He's not.
Okay. So Garrick returns his gaze to him because he's been looking at the prisoner this time. He hasn't really faced Drax at all. He turns to face Drax, and he says, "Okay, you want to be able to do what you want, when you want, without being bothered. What would you like me to do about that?"
Well, I couldn't come up with a plan. So Chris said we should outsource. I told him, sure, find somebody that's a thinker. Somebody that could figure out a way to talk to the council, the city, I don't care, about people just staying out of my way.
Understandable. Well, I'll tell you this. It would be a tough task to go to the council with this, given your recent outbursts. However, I can use what pull I have to at least negotiate down some terms. But if this is something that I am to do for you, I need your word that you're going to do better about injuring people.
You want me to tell my friends, my collection, my people to restrain themselves?
Exactly.
I think maybe. Come back with me and we'll discuss this a bit further.
I'm on like a touch of a lag, Rob. Would you mind dragging my guy with you?
Oh, yeah. So I will just
Thanks.
drag you guys both over.
Thanks.
Welcome. Dude.
Are we heading back to that main tavern?
Yeah, you're heading back into the main room.
Okay. Along the way, Garrick is just kind of taking mental snapshots of like landmarkers, just trying to like keep a good idea of his bearings and his surroundings.
Okay. You take note of different things in the hallways, the winding pathways, in the cave system. As you move back and you walk back into the main room, you see Pablo sitting where you were with Pablo's sword stood up next to his seat, and Sebastian sitting down, still with one of his sleeves rolled up, and Lial drinking heavily. And you actually look over at Brienne, just a glimpse, and you can see kind of a little smirk on her face.
Is she smirking at Sebastian?
You can see her not looking directly at Sebastian, but every once in a while, like as you're coming in, you can see her like side, just peripheral, looking at him.
So Garrick just kind of like looks up and he's just, why?
So,
He'll-
guys. Oh, go on,
I'll stay
Garrick.
No, you're good. I was gonna say Garrick's just gonna go sit down next to Sebastian.
Oh, as you go to step forward, Drax puts his hand out and kind of puts it on your chest, stopping you. And it's almost as if he's holding you, just with an open palm.
I don't resist.
He holds his other hand out. Guys, this young gentleman has an answer to our problems. We have to show self-restraint. You kind of hear light chuckles here and there through the room. But we might listen. I think it's time for some games. How does that sound, Garrick?
What kind of read is Garrick getting on how Drax posed that question?
Roll me a perception.
Okay.
I was about to throw my boot at him.
Golly, dude.
He sounds very cocky.
Sure, we'll play some games.
Perfect. And he drops his hand from you. I say
So as he drops his hand, I'm shooting a glance over to Sebastian with like the intent of trying to like signal to him like, hey, we need to be very, very cautious with our next couple of steps because things seem on fragile ground.
I kind of glanced back, but like, we could have just told them to go kill big ass monsters. They would have been happy with that. But no.
He just kind of like
Can't
shakes
fake
his
my
head.
hobby.
He just shakes his head and rolls his eyes.
Just because
Probably
I
just
took your
looking at
redhead
your
from
phone.
you doesn't mean you can get mad at me.
He says to the redhead.
Gently playing the lute. Seductively.
Well, us redheads are quite the catch.
I can't deny
I
that.
actually did my hair recently, so I'm like, my hair looks like it's fire.
Fui fui.
Muy
Spunk prayer,
fuego.
fui fui.
So, Drax looks over at you. So, here's a proposition. You beat 3 of us in a game or challenge of that person's choice. If you do that, we'll show a little self-restraint.
Well,
Pablo
all right.
likes games.
Can I cast Charm Person on one of them to not do it?
On one of the 2 of your party members?
No, one of the 3 that want to cast this in the game. Can I Charm Person one of them so they won't do it?
Well, he says, I'll even let you pick the 3 that you wish to challenge.
I look at the redhead longingly. She is my choice.
So
he moves around the table and sits back down where he was sitting before.
So, Drax, are these the games of our choosing or games of your choice?
Game of the person that you choose.
Challenged.
So I take a quick peek around. Because whoever I pick, we're gonna take their challenge, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
so
each of you must participate, and each of you get to choose who you face, and they will choose the challenge.
The gentleman that's sitting back here by the round table that hasn't said much at all, Garrick points at him and says, I'll accept your challenge.
Drax leans back in his stool. You can see the stool tipping, and he's actually sitting like crisscross, and he's leaned the chair back onto a single leg, and he's balancing it. Hey, Serge! You hear a little... Yeah, boss! I guess you're the first. He slams his head on the table. He waves his hand, kind of gesturing you over.
Garrick's going to go ahead and move on over to the table. Oh, not on it, but to it.
You can go back to that space.
Right here?
Yeah.
Ooh. Good enough.
Perfect. You know what to do, Sable. You see, you glance over and you can see the woman sitting behind the bar, pouring a bunch of tankards of ale.
You chose the wrong one, buddy.
She begins placing them on a tray and grabs them and brings them over and sets them onto the table.
Oh boy, I chose poorly.
First one to give up loses. And she puts 4, and she's carrying a large tray with 8 tankards full of ale on them by herself. The small woman with a cloak, and she's just carrying it in her 2 hands. She's walking over, balanced, and sets it down onto the table with a little thud.
Okay.
Well, guest first.
I slam the first one in front of me.
All right. And then as you set it down, he slams one as well, just without even stopping or breathing.
Okay.
He gestures his hand toward you.
Slam another.
You can see him kind of nodding. I see we've got a game. He slams his. Your turn.
Slam another one. I'm trying to see if I have any kind of. Here's a question for you. This is a game of who, like,
Can drink the most.
yeah, who can drink the most, right,
Basically.
without passing out. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a judge for the game, or is it just me and him playing each other?
Just you and him playing each other.
Okay. I would like to cast Minor Illusion and have the empty tankard that I'm drinking of appear full. And I just kind of slightly shuffle the glasses around each time to make it look like I'm grabbing a new one each time.
Okay.
I'm going to be very rogue about this.
Okay. I see. Roll me an insight check real quick. As you're thinking of doing this, right now there's only 4 in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know if the way he's drinking, if 4 is just going to be enough.
Gotcha. So I'll at least do it. I'll get through these 4, but I think on the next round, then I'll probably kick that plan into action.
Okay. So you drink your third, and roll me a Constitution save throw. And he slams his.
Could I cast a spell for heat metal so that way when he grabs the beer, he drops it?
Do you want to do that? So he slams his third. You can tell he was a little slower with this one.
Mm-hmm.
But he finishes it and looks at you.
Rip the 4th one.
All right, roll me another con save.
This one I'm going to add my Bardic to.
Okay, roll the d8.
There you go.
All right, nice. You see the man named Serge reaches for his 4th and goes to drink it.
Okay, bye, Goblin.
It's okay. Pablo isn't here yet. If anything, we'll do
Pablo's
Sebastian.
sleeping.
Serge goes to drink his 4th. Sebastian, did you want to do anything?
I'll cast heat metal on his tankard.
Do you have to touch the metal? I forget the range of heat metal.
Let's see. Where is it hiding? Where's
My internet died for a second.
You're good.
It's too
choose
bad
a
this isn't like an
manufactured
actual...
object such as a metal weapon or heavy item, medium armor. I'll just
It should be range, or it says touch an object.
range 60 feet.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Do you want to cast heat metal?
Yep.
You cast heat metal on the handle of the tankard. As Serge goes to drink it, you hear ah, and he drops it and it spills onto the table.
Ah, I see you yield already. I am victorious. He just shouts before Serge can say anything.
You see Serge stand up, kind of angry. You can see kind of red on his face. That wasn't. It looks like you lost, Serge. It's fine. Have a seat. He just sits down back into his stool, glancing over at you. Was that you?
Me?
No, at Garrett.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I
Sir,
know
I am
you
a
did some
simple
sort of trickery.
sir. And so at this point, Garrick pulls out a gold coin and starts to fiddle with it in his fingers. And he says, "Sir, I might be good with sleight of hand." And he makes the coin disappear. But he says, "I'm no magician." And he walks away.
And Sebastian just seductively playing the lute on the table to draw attention to him.
Roll me a performance check.
Gladly.
And then as Garrick is heading back to the main table, he just kind of shoots over like not an overconfident, but a little bit of a smirky glance over at Drax. Because Garrick's very convinced at this point that Drax is a very aware person.
You can see him look at you, and then his eyes look back over at Sebastian, and then back at you, and you see him give it like a little nod. Well, choose your next champion. The bugbear or the changeling? Who's going to face one of my family?
Pablo, would you like a go at someone?
Just kind of shrugs and is like,
The bugbear doesn't speak much, but we'll elect the bugbear as our next champion.
Hopefully it's the cooking of lasagna.
You can see Drax like raise his hand up as he yawns. Well, what do you think about fighting me?
ah, shit.
He smiles. But it's your choice. Choose to face whoever you want. He's sitting crisscross and kind of like rocking back and forth on the stool.
He's very eager and like, Pablo wants to make a friend, so Pablo's gonna make a friend.
Can I give her sword bardic inspiration because it's setting it?
No.
That would be cool.
Just like kick it, be like, get in there, sword.
The sword starts rolling by itself.
Pablo's just gonna hold out a hand, like a handshake, towards Drax.
He reaches forward and shakes your hand. He grabs it and actually begins to squeeze. You can feel the bones in your hand beginning to crunch. I jest. Don't worry. And he leans back. Choose another. But I'm glad to see not all of you are cowards.
I'm just blatantly playing the lute somewhere on the table. Completely oblivious to what he said.
Garrick says, "I beg your pardon, Drax. I'm simply intelligent." Is that the word you used earlier? Smart, planner?
You could be a smart coward, can't you not?
Touche, my friend. Touche.
I tend to think those smartest tend to be the most cowardice.
I play the lute a little bit higher when he says that.
So
Well, at least you're good for something. I do like his music.
Do you want me to
He
roll
plays a good.
performance
He plays
check?
a good instrument,
No,
and he, from time or two, plays a good woman as well.
Glancing at the redhead.
Yeah, I don't know. After all of this, I might just keep him.
You hear a string just click. Just
But
Pablo
go on.
just dies of laughter.
But go on, Pablo, was it? Pick who you wish to play against.
Pablo's just gonna look at Garrick and like kind of gesture around and be like,
He looks over at the half orc sitting by the table over there. Was it orc or half orc?
An orc.
Orc. And he points over to that one. He says, "Go strength to strength, I guess."
And I gave Pablo bardic, didn't I?
I already used it.
Oh, okay. I can give you another one if you need it.
How many more do you have?
With my rolls.
I've got another 3.
Beautiful.
So like I like rub Pablo's like muscles.
Well,
You got this, Pablo. You got this.
So, Pablo, are you going over to the orc sitting at the table? Kind of, he's faced away from you. Looks like he's minding his own business.
Is there anyone that like looks antsy, like wants a challenge?
Not me.
Just Drax and
Just Drax.
Leal next to you.
Leo.
Don't kill the redhead.
Leal next to you. You can hear his hands, like each finger just clacking on the table.
Tick, 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 kinda.
Yeah.
He's just gonna like elbow Leo and just be like, eh?
Finally, his hands come up. You can see him pulling his vest off, and he throws it onto the table. He takes a couple steps away from the table and everyone. He begins wrapping his wrists, and he brings his hand to a fist. Bare knuckle.
So, quick question. Are you going hit points on this, or are you going just straight rolls on this?
Hit points.
I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery on him and say, those are some small biceps.
You go to cast Vicious Mockery, and as you go to cast it, you can feel the spell fail as you say it. And you look over at Drax, and his eyes are glowing.
He's gotta be Fae. Or a dragon.
Well, Pablo, your challenger awaits.
And I had to give you Bardic, by the way, Pablo. I rubbed your shoulders. Nice. Get them nice and loosened up. Nice oil on there, glistening.
You stand up, and Sebastian comes over and kind of rubs your shoulders a little bit and like slaps you a little.
You got this, champ.
Pablo's gonna get up, pat his sword, be like, we got this. And Pablo like strips off his shirt to like wrap his wrist as well.
Well, I think I'll let you get a free one. He holds his chin out.
Pablo's just gonna be like, that's not fair.
I wouldn't take gifts like this lightly. But that's fine. We can see who throws the first punch and then go from there.
Fair.
Blow for blow. Ready. Set. And real quick, what's your dexterity?
Oh, my dex? Fuck. I'm a 13.
Not bad.
It's above average.
My dex is at.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh. Roll me a d20.
This is regular d20?
Yeah, y'all are tied. We gotta roll for it.
I forgot how to do it.
Left
Off
side
on the far
or-
left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know how to do that, but my brain was like, just do the type command. It'll work.
Okay, no.
Ooh, Pablo.
Lial moves first. And I'm actually going to whisper these ones. His fist connects to you as you both punch at the same time. His connects and deals 5 damage.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to put that. I looked at my accent.
He punches you, then steps back, and you can see he drops his guard for you to hit him. What's your strength?
17.
Plus 3. Oh, you have claws. I'll let you roll those.
Nice.
You hit and scratch at this point just the shirt that Leol's wearing down his chest. You can see the clothes tear, and then as you pull back from your attack, he hits you. And deals 4 damage.
From getting hit, can I rage?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ew.
Ooh. Ah.
And go on, hit him back. You slash across the other side of his chest, kind of making an X across, tearing a section of his shirt off. As his shirt falls, that part of his shirt falls to the ground in front of him. You can see his bare chest, and your claws haven't made a scratch.
Okay. I just realized that I'm supposed to be rolling with advantage, and I did not do that
Why advantage?
because of raging.
Well, these are attacks.
You have
not-
advantage
not,
on. Oh, it's not just strength checks. It's just attack.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actual attacks.
Well. He looks down and sees his bare chest. I'm fine continuing if you are.
Garrick looks over at Sebastian. Don't get too excited about a shirtless man.
Not my type. Looking back at the redhead. Jealous much?
No.
And as you say that over to Garrick, you hear a thud as Leal hits Pablo square in the jaw, dealing 12 damage.
Ooh.
Or you're raging, so only 6, but you could feel how heavy the hit was.
Can I cast a spell? Or am I out of it?
You can try.
Can I cast
I don't know. I speak DM, and that's not usually a good thing.
Dissonant Whispers?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to
Okay.
cast it?
Yep.
And let me roll it at normal. Wisdom save, right?
I believe so.
He fails. Roll me the 3d6.
Oh boy. D4. How can I roll 3d6? Oh, 3d6?
Yep. After Leal hits Pablo, he steps back, and you can see him reach up toward his head as a pinch of pain rushes through. And you can see he kind of pushes away and takes a step into the door frame, and he takes the damage. Pablo, while he's doing this, roll your attack at advantage. You hit. He as he's turning, you bring your claws down and slash at his side, ripping his clothing even more. But you can feel your claws kind of just dragging down his body. I. And you can see him kind of getting angry at the surge of pain. And you can see his face starting to change slightly. And from the pain, he kind of reels forward, and you can see his hands starting to turn to claws, and his skin turning black. And he turns, and you can see he's taken the form of a large wolf man. Let us continue.
Can I cast polymorph on him?
Do you cast polymorph on him?
I mean, I can. If you want.
Do you? Okay. You go to cast polymorph, and for a second, you begin to kind of whisper the spell, and as you're beginning to cast, you hear a slam on the table next to you from Drax. You kind of peek over, and you see him shaking his finger.
Creative way to get rid of a spell, but okay. I tried.
No, you don't cast it.
Okay, so I still get the spell slots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Leon, in his wolf, his hybrid form, goes toward Pablo and makes another claw attack, which connects. You take 5 damage.
At this point, while they're duking it out, Garrick just kind of looks over at Drax and just kind of gives him like a one of those that's what you got kind of looks.
Sebastian has sit way closer to the redhead than he should be, just playing blue. Seductively.
So you're looking over at Drax, and as you do that, you see Sebastian walk over and sit in the chair directly in front of you, which is next to Brienne, and he leans closer to her and starts playing his flute a little. Roll me your performance. She leans forward, says, "You missed it."
Always my queen.
Oh boy.
Drax looks over at you, Garrick, and kind of gives you a side glance, and then looks back to the brawl in front of you. Pablo kind of knows, but Garrick, familiar with werewolves, that just normal physical damage can't hurt them.
Silver.
So knowing this, Garrick takes out is there like a napkin near him, like a white napkin?
Yeah, just on the table.
And he throws the white napkin between the two of them. And he says, "We yield this challenge."
Coward!
What?
Wait, I'm trying to read. Hang on. Let me look at my things, because I think I have something. Where is it?
What you thinking?
God, no, they come down to me. Jesus.
Unless you can make your fist magical, there's nothing you can do.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I have like the gift of the chromatic dragon, and then I also have like other things that like give me shit.
So you could use it and make your fist deal whatever that gift damage type is.
Okay.
I forget if you chose already.
Would dispel magic make him back to a normal person?
I have acid, cold,
lycanthrope.
fire, lightning, or poison.
Yeah. So So 1d4 of that type of damage.
Yeah. I don't know what would be good against a werewolf.
Well, would you
Madness.
consider those attacks
So
magical?
choose one. They are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
infused dragon magic.
Oh yeah, then she's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna do fire damage because that seems to be my theme, especially with my sword.
Fire.
Fui.
So you watch as the napkin from Garrick lands in front of you. You manifest the power of a red dragon into your fist. Roll your claw attack.
And you do have Barding.
So as she channels the fire into her hands, I just kind of like, well, I made my suggestion. I sit back down to watch the fight.
And roll me a d4 for the fire real quick. Perfect. It hits, and you can see your fist, your claws hit onto the chest of the werewolf again, and this time actually singe its skin a bit. And I've also modified your claws to just count it now.
Okay.
Leo makes another claw attack at you. You dodge out of the way, attack real quick. Kind of just back and forth with him. It hits. You're ticking away at each other just little by little. He deals 3 damage to you. Attack again. It hits. I know.
Mhm.
These two just behemoths of tanks.
Pow, 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 pow.
You just feel the impact of their hits back and forth, back and forth. You can see both beginning to wane a little bit, blow for blow.
Come on, Pablo. You can do this.
That one misses. He hits.
Can I cast mass healing word on her? Give her some hit points back.
You think about doing it. You look over at Drax, and he looks at you again and shakes his finger.
Jesus Christ.
So, with that, I was going to ask about the parapap of wound closure. Is that like something I have to cast, or is it just something that happens?
Telepathic one.
Wound closure.
Check here real quick. Oh, that's if you're dying.
Okay. And then the Eldritch Claw tattoo. I don't.
Oh. Forgot about your claw tattoo. Good point. Bringing it up now. Let me go back. Do quick math.
I can do math.
And as you ignited your hands with the fire, you also activated your tattoo, and your normal slashing damage is also counted as magical. You can tell you've done quite a bit of damage to Leo. Roll one more attack for me.
Nice.
You hit. At this time, you close your hand and hit Leo square on the side of the head. He turns and falls and slams his head into the wall next to him. I yield.
Pablo leans out a hand to help him up.
He reaches up and grabs your hand, and as that happens, you can see his claw reaching out slowly becomes human again. His fur kind of retreats back, and he goes into his human form and stands up. I hardly find another that can fight like that.
I'm clapping.
Friends?
Good job, Pablo.
Yeah,
Good job.
Garrick's just clapping. Bravo, bravo.
Leo walks over to the table and sits down with some wounds on him, but he sits and pulls out a stool next to him.
Paolo goes and sits next to him.
I kick over like 2 tankards of ale.
Drax looks over at Sebastian, just staring at him. I can tell you've been eager to put your hat in the ring. I guess it's your time to choose. Oh, magic one.
Sebastian just
smirks.
like takes off his hat. We're 2 for 3. We've already won. What's there left?
Oh, sir, you had to win all 3.
I look at Brienne. Oh, fairest maiden, red of hair.
Oh,
Will you take me on this dare?
that was good. That was good.
Roll me a persuasion check.
With advantage? Because I've been seducing her.
Yep, with advantage.
Yeah, buddy. You said persuasion?
Yep. Nice. She stands up out of her seat.
Gotta love that.
You seem like you'd be fun. We'll see if your blade is as sharp as your words. And your wits.
I don't like the word
She
blade.
You see she grabs the large sword next to her and begins sliding it across the ground and picks it up.
Is that Pablo's?
No, her own.
Pablo's immediately like, ooh.
Well, suppose it's time. He holds the sword up in a dueling stance.
On guard.
I didn't think you knew I would be the one best with the blade here.
Oh, you're
As
best
she
with
says
the blade.
As she says that, Garrick is just like, of course, and she's good at fighting, dueling.
Pablo's more interested in the girl at the bar.
Hey, yo, girl, what's your name is?
Right?
Do you want me to roll initiative?
Yeah, I'll let you roll initiative with this one. In the middle top. She goes first. You draw your blade facing Brienne, and she lunges forward at you. And stabs you right in the shoulder and retreats back. Oh, you already did.
Yeah, I already did.
There you go. Your turn.
I'm going to cast Charm Person.
Okay.
And I swear if you make Drax fucking counter this, I swear to God.
Garrick's gonna take a quick potty break.
Go ahead. And that's a 2 wisdom save. You
We start-
charm Brienne.
We start dancing. A beautiful tango.
As you go to reach for her,
Arm bloodied, by the way.
she stabs you.
She's charmed. She shouldn't hit me.
Yeah. She regards you as a friendly acquaintance.
All right, I'm gonna polymorph her then.
Drax snaps his fingers. I believe the challenge was a sword fight, was it not?
Jesus fucking Christ. So does that mean I didn't cast polymorph then?
Yep. And Drax yells over to you. In my home, you follow the rules.
And what are the rules?
You
I'm
fight
just a
with
humble
your
part.
sword. That's it. You chose the really buff chick. You have a thing for buff chicks, I've noticed.
So I can't cast any spells on her now. Is
You
what you're
can.
saying.
Do you want to cast a spell?
Well, every time I cast one, I get fucking.
Yeah, you
dead.
want. You heard what Drax said. Do you go to cast a spell?
Yeah, I'll cast it.
You cast Synaptic Static?
Yep.
Pick where to explode.
Where she's at.
Just it's a 20-foot radius sphere. You want to center it there?
No, I don't want the other people to get involved. So like the bear.
So just far enough to where it explodes, like
Yeah.
onto her. Okay. And it's
Well, of course he wants to explode on her. I think he's made
Yeah.
that very clear.
No, I'm trying my best. I saved your guys' asses
Intelligence.
multiple times. Oh, she failed.
She fails. Roll the 8d6 psychic. You can do 4 and 4.
You said D4.
No, it's d6s, but I don't think you can roll 8 at a time. So you can do 4 d6s and 4d6.
Yeah, so 4 and 2. Oh no.
No, it's yeah, 4 4. Your synaptic static explodes, dealing damage to Brienne and pushing her to the side. She drops down. You can see kind of holding her head, muddled. And on that, you hear a large snap behind you as Drax pushes his hand on the table, cracking it in half. I said you follow the rules. And he stands up onto the 2 broken pieces and begins to walk over and stands in between all 3 of you. He looks over at Garrick. I don't know if this arrangement is going to work if you can't understand your places.
I immediately fall to my knees. Sorry, great Drax. I'm but a humble bard. I'm not strong with sword and bow, but I am strong in wit and clever. We just simply want to be your friends. Why not rule this land?
He looks at you, groveling to him. Roll me a persuasion check.
Just solid persuasion.
Yep, no, just did normal.
That's what the nat one.
I know. He
Can I bardic myself?
very quickly, before the other 2 can react, makes a strike. And punches Sebastian clean in the face. Make me a strength save.
No! I just missed it.
You take 13 bludgeoning damage and get thrown across the room and smack into the wall and fall to the ground. I don't
My
like
liege.
your cocky disrespect.
So
Leave.
At this point, Garrick draws his rapier and like puts it up to the throat, and he says, "I don't appreciate you striking my friends."
And isn't Brienne charmed? Oh no,
Brienne
he just
is.
killed
No, Brienne's still charmed.
it. My queen saved
But now,
me.
now she's also muddled because you synaptic static her. I command my collection, leave us. And as he says that, all of them stand up in unison and walk out of the room, just past all of you.
Except Brienne, right? She's still charmed.
She still leaves. She fears Drax far more than she regards a friendly acquaintance.
I
You-
should
you
have
look
stuck
at the
with the
two-
barmaid.
You
Pablo's
look at
just
the
gonna be
two-
like this on the table.
You look at the two shadow cats, and both of them just kind of vanish into shadow. Bard, close the door.
Who's commanding you to do that?
Drax.
I closed the door.
I close it.
I've got a busted jaw, right? Leave me alone.
Drax, with your rapier up to him, just takes a step forward, moving around it, and just walks in between the tables to the other side of the room. Join your friends, you dishonorable scum.
I spit blood out. Fucking coward.
I said, move! And he slams his foot on the ground. And as he does that, you see some lightning kind of come off of his foot.
I cast a spell magic.
So
You
he's
cast-
telling us to leave too?
No, he's just talking to Sebastian to move to you guys. You cast Dispel Magic over him, and he lets it happen. And then he kind of chuckles. I knew I couldn't get along with these poor excuses. And as he's doing this, you can see him kind of growing in size, his skin turning a bluish red into purple as he begins growing further and further in size. A tail sprouts from behind him, his neck elongates, his two wings jut out his back.
God damn it! I knew he was a dragon.
Oh yeah, I've known for some time, but I was trying to
I
be like,
said, join your friends.
am I free to move right now, DM? Can I move?
Yeah.
All right. So Garrick steps to the other side of the table, kind of creating like some distance. Like I don't know,
As you go to step,
Mhm.
you see his head quickly turn toward you. Did I tell you to move?
No, but I don't see why the sudden rage.
Yeah, you're mad at me, you coward.
You see him quickly take steps and slide around the corner. His head, basically the size of Sebastian, just up in front of him. Who's a coward?
Spits blood out. Oh, a little
gonna get us
fancy
killed.
lad here now, aren't we? Oh, I'm a big bad dragon. Taking on that poor changeling.
You say that, and you watch as he opens his mouth in front of you, and you can see what looks like almost purple lightning inside of its mouth.
It looks like your mom.
You say that as he exhales his plasma breath into you. Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh god.
Seeing this happen, can I throw my boomerang at his head to try to like divert the shot and give him some help?
Yes, throw the boomerang first.
Oh good.
It hits.
Sue me.
So
Yeah.
roll me
I mean, Sue me.
another dexterity save throw. I'll let you do it at advantage. Well, yeah, let us take that. You tilt his with your hit. He tilts his head a little bit, and you move mostly out of the way. But the dragon exhales a crackling energy like you've never seen from a dragon before, scorching the area around it with lightning and fire simultaneously. You take 28 fire damage.
I'm still alive. 2 hit
He said,
points,
"I'm
baby.
still here."
Let's fucking go.
And roll me a Constitution save throw.
Oh, sorry. That was.
Both succeed. So the crackling energy he exhales is so bright. You all turn away a little bit as it's kind of scorching your eyes at how bright it is. He moves away from Sebastian and crushes the other side of the table with his hand. Are you also going to disobey?
Disobey. You tried to kill my friend. I'm not going to simply stand by while you try to murder him.
He's strong.
He stands directly in front of you,
Don't do it.
towering over you. He spit in my face. I am a king amongst you all.
So as he says that, Garrick just simply takes a napkin off the bar and starts to wipe the blood off his face. And he says, "I understand. Simple miscalculation and misstepping, I promise."
Pablo is gonna start rummaging through his backpack for some lasagna to give him.
You find that you have one piece of lasagna left.
Just gonna pull it out and be like, and like open it and be like, sorry.
It's good lasagna.
You see the dragon sniff in the air. He moves over and with his large hand grabs the lasagna and tosses it into its mouth. Quite. And he moves back over toward Garrick. Does that dishonorable disgrace represent you?
Who, Sebastian?
I don't even think it deserves a name, but yes.
Yes, his transgressions are mine, and mine his.
You see his eyes turn from kind of a red to a blue, kind of flipping between them. Cut off your hand as punishment.
I cut off mine instead. My left arm.
You cut off your hand?
Yep. And you'll see me in my true changeling form. A weak, vulnerable. Like gasping for life. These are my sins to bear.
Sebastian steps forward, dropping to his knees. He pulls out his rapier, and he cuts off his left hand. The dragon turns its head. You still disobey.
I am like you, dragon. We hid our appearances from the world. We only wished to be what we wanted to be. That's why I spit on you. A beautiful creature as yourself. I am not. forgive me for my transgressions. I just simply wish to make the world a better place. Forgive me.
Roll a persuasion check at advantage. You watch as the dragon's form begins to shift and become smaller and smaller as he moves back to his human form. There we go. Your humility is honorable. You're still dishonorable. But you've redeemed yourself to me a bit. He looks over at Garrick. You may not join my collection, but I think we can come to reasonable terms.
And those terms are? And Garrick says this as he pulls up a chair to the table, as like to have a civilized discussion.
He steps forward. Brienne's bag that was left there. He reaches in and pulls out some paper. This, and he begins writing. He writes up a quick agreement and hands it to you, detailing that him and his gang will remain here and not be bothered by anyone within the city, and they will not cause immediate harm to them, and will only engage up there at night.
Garrick looks this over for a moment and ponders the implications of the statements, and
you
says,
read
fine.
Through it, and you go to the detail part, which is your agreement of it, that you will ensure no one comes to bother them down here, and at night, anything that occurs up there is for you and your group to basically correct.
Okay.
So when they're up there, basically you must work to make sure that no one bothers them when they're out and about at the town.
Pablo's gonna move over and be like, "Can I make you a deal?"
What is it?
If I come and cook for you guys sometimes, can I come brawl?
I love that.
We can make a personal arrangement. You bring the food, and we will meet you at Uslega's Tavern once a week.
Sebastian just looks at his marred hand. I still got the right hand. I can still arm wrestle her.
So Garrick looks it over, and he says to Drax, "I have a final condition to add to this, but know that I am not a man who simply takes, but I will also give here. You may run him out, and you may do as you wish within the town, as long as murder or death stays as a very last resort in confrontation. This is a good city, and the people that I've served here for many years. Now, in exchange for this, should someone have an egregious enough of a transgression, I will see to it personally that they are dealt with." And it's in this moment that Garrett kind of flickers back to his past self, where he was a little bit not nicer of a guy. And like you can see the like almost evil intent in his eyes, and like the lust for wanting to kill something again kind of repercolate.
Axe stands up He walks over to Sebastian, laying on the ground, who's now kind of wrapped in like tourniquet his arm to stop the bleeding a bit. He comes over, he grabs the stub of Sebastian's arm, and you can see his hand actually begin glowing red with heat as he presses it to the stub, searing the wound.
Oh, so I don't get my hand back?
You can't restore your hand.
He's a dragon.
Not a healing one.
Ugh.
Wrong kind of dragon.
Thank you, mighty Drax.
As he walks away, he just glances down at you.
What was that? I didn't hear what you said. If you're going to insult me properly.
Oh, and you must stop seeking any type of interaction with Brienne. As he starts to walk away.
Biting his tongue. He doesn't say anything.
Philodrax walks up to Garrick and says, "That last bit, do you mean it?"
Every word of it.
Okay. Bare your chest to me.
He kind of unclips, some of the leather armor he's wearing, and reveals his chest. It's slightly more, buff than you expect, because he did some push-ups that morning, so there's little chest pump.
You got a nice pump on the curb.
Respect.
Respect.
Yeah. He puts his hand onto Garrick's chest, and you feel a singe and a burn on your chest under his hand. He lifts his hand, and you see a marking, which almost like two diamond shapes that are split in the middle, kind of crossed over each other, with two diamonds in the center, just down one of your left pec, burned into you. This will act as our agreement. When I call, which will only be in those moments, as mentioned, an egregious act toward us, you must respond.
I am Batman. He says, but Garrick agrees heartedly.
And for that, I will also give you this.
My hand
As
back?
He looks over. You actually see him shift slightly into dragon form, his mouth light, as he shoots a little bit of his plasma spear, which you didn't get to see, and it just disintegrates your hand off the ground. That will be a reminder for you. And he looks back over to Garrick. And this, as a new part of my collection. I grant you. He grabs hold of your boomerang on your hip, and you can see his hand glowing with the similar energy, and it crackles into your boomerang. He enchants your boomerang with the gift of the purple dragon.
Lit.
He sits back, he takes one of the stools on the not destroyed part of the table and pulls it out and sits down on it. Well, you can see the rest of my collection has a room to repair. But the three of you can go now.
And as they're getting up to leave, Garrick's going to look back at Drax one more time and just say, Dock number 4, I'll have some furniture dropped off to repair some of the iniquities of the room.
Agreeable. I'm still not
Tomorrow.
restoring the halfling's hand.
That's
or the
fine.
changeling's hand.
We can deal with that. That's fine. But I have I have contacts that can get you some nice furniture. Tomorrow at sunset, have your
There'll also
people
be
meet
food
there.
dropped.
Perfect. That will satiate my rage for now. But as a part of my collection, he smiles toward you, Garrick. You'll see me soon.
Garrick just simply bows his head.
And the three of you leave the bandits' hideouts, escaping death from Philodrax, the purple dragon. You return up to your house and walk through the entryway where the seared barrels with the scorches up the wall. You walk into your house and just kind of sigh over the situation of what happened.
I guess it only cost us a hand. As I hold
Yeah,
up
at least
my
it wasn't an
stub.
arm and a leg.
Fucking dragons.
Frickin' horny bards.
You know what? I saved you both twice. Leave me alone.
I mean, I had a pretty foolproof plan. I think I was going to do just fine.
Same.
You both almost whiffed it. Where were you when I needed you when I fought the strong redhead? You guys were nowhere to be
Well,
seen.
Before you started insulting people, I was gonna offer to be like, I can sword fight.
One, I had to pee. Two, I'm not a magic-y person. I sneak, I talk, I con people. It's what I do.
It's not my fault.
And
you didn't
I'm
spell
just
magic.
strong.
You
I'm
barely
strong and I
survived your
cook good.
fight.
I'm strong and I cook good. I had options.
Friends, we are
Go
listening to
summon
this
the
all
dragon
wrong.
guy. I want my hand back.
You haven't earned your hand
We'll
back.
find you a healer, but for tonight,
I've got
Tonight,
250 gold. I want
we
my
should
hand
drink.
back.
Oh, what was that, Garrick? I think it's... he's lagging a little bit. All right. Perfect. So Garrick... Oh, there you are. Lost you there for a second.
Am
Yes, we can hear you.
I
So,
back? Am I alive?
yeah, still living.
I cannot hear him.
I can't hear him either.
Oh, well, so after Sebastian says that to Garrick, Garrick decides to just not even reply to Sebastian. He's too tired and walks off to his room for the night. The two of you, Pablo and Sebastian, you walk into your rooms. Pablo, the sword, speaks to you and says, I wish I would have gotten to fight the redhead.
I was gonna try, buddy.
Well, now we get to make lasagna for a dragon.
And anything else he wants. And maybe they'll let me fight the redhead sometime.
I would love to fight the redhead.
It'll be the first
Yeah.
one we challenge.
Now we sleep.
Pablo makes like a little bed for the sword and like tucks him in.
Sebastian, you go up to your room, and you walk into the room, and immediately, as you enter, you see the couple mirrors just at the entryway that you normally check your outfit and everything in. You're still wearing your normal skin, the face that you hate.
I'm going to perform a dark ritual to get my hand back.
You don't know one.
I just smash all the mirrors.
Perfect. And that, making at least a reasonable arrangement with the purple dragon Philodrax underneath the city of Lyalisk, the three of you go to sleep. to see what he will need of you tomorrow. And that will end our adventure of the Bandit King.
Woo!
I kind of wanted to join his collection.
He was very selective.
I noticed.
I had to make a very dark
I
bargain
was like,
to get a be a part of that collection.
Gonna be honorable and courageous.
Nope.
This is a dragon. If he doesn't kill me, maybe he'll collect me.
I didn't get the dragon memo, so I just fucking was going for it.
I told you that I thought he was a dragon.
But in character, I didn't know he was a dragon. I lost my fucking hand.
You sacrificed your hand.
Hey,
You sacrificed it.
I got it out of us. I imagine Rob will use some kind of voodoo witchcraft to get my hand back.
No, as soon as you said that, when I shook his hand, it felt like it weighed like 5 human arms. I was
Rob,
like,
I spent
"Ugh."
$1,000
I was
a month
like,
on your
you
OnlyFans. I feel like I
dirty,
can get my hand
dirty.
back.
dirty DM.
You didn't even get to hear my sweet DM song.
Yeah, let's cut it for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm excited for the next one shot. So we will end it here. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.